want to take it in the trenches with the stocks that do act best when we get some of these oversold bounces. Stocks that, as a trader, I look for small trades. Doesn't mean that they're going to go back up to their highs or break out, but it means that they've been bouncing off of key levels. So I've been using them as a key indicator. So the first one is Lulu. Lulu was positive yesterday. It's been a momentum stock in the retail area, but more importantly, it's, the chart will tell the story. Take a look at Lulu. This stock right now is trying to bounce off of this lower level here. You're looking at 47.16. As long as this holds, I think some people got into a tier 1. This is something to watch as a potential leader in this group when this market wants to bounce. But I wouldn't be chasing it because it just went into resistance. I would trade it versus this level. Another stock that I watch very closely, obviously, is Apple. Apple has given us some nice, actionable cash flow trades at key areas, whether it was the moving average, whether it was other type of support areas. I don't think it's going to be sustained until we get a better picture of the market, but there are levels to watch, to trade against in order to create cash flow if you have to beat your seat every day. So if you look at Apple, you will see, a few different times, you had your first bounce when it tested the earnings gap and then met resistance, failed. Then you had the short that some guys made money on when it broke support here. It did come back down to test the old highs, okay? Came all the way into this 364. Good for a trade, okay? That's all it was good for. And then it tested this lower pivot here in the 350s. And now the next area, if we start heading lower, will be around the 200-day, which I don't have in here, at around 340. So, first use this line in the sand. Some guys might actually even short it for cash flow below this 362 because it does have a little bit of a ways down to 353. And then use that to trade against. If this were to break, you then have 343. So watching levels there, both long and short, makes sense, and it helps give you some clues where the S&Ps might be able to bounce. Amazon, similar. It too looks a little bit sloppy, but it does bounce when the market wants to bounce. We are now seeing another lower pivot here. Let this wedge. Once this wedges, I think there's going to be another move, and if the market's to the downside, you better get out of your stock if it breaks 190. I talked about this being a go-to stock. Once it broke this key area, you had to get to cash, and if you missed that spot, here was another. That just shows you need stops. Okay, as another stock that actually was really strong yesterday, was the Chinese internets. They held up until the end of the day. Sohu was strong, Sino was strong, Baidu was strong. I'm going to go over one of them being Baidu. Baidu's given us a lot of trades, both long and short. Baidu, if you look here, you will see that this was your area to get stopped out, okay? This is the area where the pennant and the momentum broke. Came all the way back to a prior buy point. It just came to resistance. Some guys sold against it. I would watch this level of 138. If it were to break, you'll see a move back to 130, and then ultimately, you could see the low, actually back to this pivot around 117 or so. And lastly, when the market wants to bounce, some stocks in the credit card area that have been acting strong. MA, if you take a quick look here, MA wasn't positive yesterday, but it's still holding, at least half of this wide range bar. It gave back a lot of the earnings bar, but some will try and stay long versus 300. But if you start to see it breaking 290, you better get out of the way. So